All right, let's see how this works. This is my 1971 Federal USA version Triumph Stag, and I'm looking at the fuel gauge, which even when I fill it all the way up, doesn't go all the way to full. So this is the fuel tank. This is the fuel sender right here. And this is my cheap little analog voltmeter, multimeter. I'll explain why in just a second. Coming in is this black and green wire, which if you were to trace it back, it goes back through the fuel gauge, and then it is fed from the fuel gauge from the voltage stabilizer, which is supposed to take your battery voltage or car voltage, whatever, and meter it down to 10 volts. But I think it does that through opening and closing the contact, depending on whatever, however it works. But so anyway, if you use a digital multimeter and it's grabbing it at different instants in time, it will jump all over the place. Whereas an analog meter, the needle hopefully will move and try and keep up with the voltage as it goes up and down and up and down. So anyway, the ignition is on right now. This is the ground wire, and this wire, according to my diagram, goes back to the low fuel light on the gauge. If I take this off, I should be getting, through the voltage stabilizer, 10 volts to this point right here. Now, there is still amperage current flowing through the voltage stabilizer because the temperature gauge is on right now. If I ground this, the fuel gauge pegs itself, goes all the way up past full, and the gauge definitely gets all the way to full. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put my meter, which is set for 10 volts DC maximum scale right there, and I'm going to ground it. And like I said, there is some amps going through the voltage stabilizer, so it should be opening and closing, do what they're doing, trying to maintain 10 volts. So I'll ground this guy here. My problem is it's going off the scale there. Like, you know, maybe it's trying to get 12 or 13 volts and back down. And if I flip it on up to 50 volt scale, yeah, I mean, it's jumping up to, I don't know, 12 or 13 and then back down. Who's to say what the average of that is? Is that 10? Should it be 10? It's going through the temperature gauge, which has a resistance on it, but that's resistance to current flow. The voltage should be across it. So I think I should be reading basically whatever the voltage stabilizer is trying to output at 10 volts. Whether that equates to 10 volts or not, I don't know. Looks pretty close actually now that I'm looking at it. All right, 3 minutes and 30 seconds of me talking, and probably doesn't mean anything to anybody unless they've gone through this thing. But anyway, yeah, that's enough talking.